In today's episode, we're talking about the latest installment in a movie franchise that doesn't ever seem to end, a classic series that thrives on shock value and body horror, Saw 10. Alright, I don't think I need to explain the franchise. If you're listening to this episode, I'm sure you are very well educated in the very long franchise that is Saw, but I'll tell you a brief synopsis of this one. John Kramer travels to Mexico for a risky experimental medical procedure, only to discover the entire operation is a scam to defraud the vulnerable. Armed with a newfound purpose, the infamous serial killer uses deranged and ingenious traps to turn the tables on the con artists.
So, was this a prequel?
That's one of the questions that I have.
Yeah, they don't make it clear, because it's like, is it a prequel or is it continuing forward? Like, we don't know.
I feel like there are answers, but also, I don't know. There's like some hinting.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the movie is how many years from the first one? Like 15 years later or something like that?
I don't know.
And it's like we're not stupid. We're not like we know that he's old.
Yeah.
Like we know that he's old, but I mean, since he's old already, you can't really age him or de-age him because he didn't need to. It's not that many years. But Amanda is younger, so I'm like.
Age.
But the way that I don't want to go into the movie.
You're going straight into the discussion.
Yeah, I don't want to go straight to the discussion, but let's just say we don't know if it's a prequel yet.
Okay.
Or we'll figure it out.
Well, let's start off with our usual format, which is with a game, of course. And I think the game, we try to do these games not only because it's fun, but it gives some insight into the behind the scenes of the movie or whatever horror media that we're discussing. So let's jump into it because I think there might be some clarity there for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, the first question. This is the first film in the series that does not feature a certain perspective. What perspective?
Is it first person view? Wait, did they do first person view?
It's not really
you mean like a perspective of the character?
Yeah.
What's his name? Jigsaw? What's the guy's name on the bicycle? Do they show you like him driving through the mask or something? The bicycle through the... I don't know.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean like a point of view, but not in the technical sense. Just like a storyline that you kind of always see in these Saw movies.
You mean like the other person's point of view or how the other person is...
Yeah, but specifically what point of view is missing from this one?
The victim's point of view?
No.
I give up.
You only guess once. It's the police investigations. There's usually a police investigation going on.
Oh yeah, you're right, yeah.
And there's none in this one.
You're right, yeah, it's just like whatever.
It just kind of followed the story. Usually there's multiple perspectives going on in the Saw series.
You know why? I think in this one, isn't the setting is not in America. That's probably why. It's like in Mexico or something.
Oh, maybe. I mean, they could have showed that perspective. Or maybe they didn't want to. Anyway.
They didn't want to mix. Remember, like, when you go overseas or something, you can't mix two different jurisdictions, so they're just like, forget the cops in this one.
Oh, it would have been complicated?
Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay, question number 2. True or false? This storyline was foreshadowed in a previous Saw installation, which you were kind of questioning.
Oh, you mean like, I get what you're saying. I'm going to say false.
It's true.
So they were going to make a prequel anyway? Or?
So in Saw 6, which is from 2009, there was a scene where John denied insurance coverage for an experimental cancer treatment located in Norway. In this film, he seeks that treatment out.
Oh shit. So then, is it a prequel? Alright, we'll keep going.
Let's keep going.
Because I'm excited to find out.
Okay.
Did you dig into that to see if it is?
Well, listen to the third question.
Right.
The third question is, which two movies does this story fall in between?
Exactly what you said before. 6 and 7. No. Is it between 1 and 2?
Yeah, it is. This film takes place between Saw 2004 and Saw 2 2005.
Oh, so it is a prequel.
I don't know if it's a prequel because it's between 1 and 2.
Oh,
so it's like...
It's a sequel that they skipped?
It's like...
1.5.
It's like 1.5. It's like you saw the first one and then you get a little bit of context as to what happened right after, maybe.
Oh, so I get it now.
Interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was good. It was good.
Okay, next question. True or false? This is the longest movie in the franchise.
I think it's true. That shit was like 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
This shit was long. Even for you, you're like, yeah, this shit is long.
Yeah, it's true, and it's exactly 1 hour and 58 minutes long. Okay. And the last question. True or false? This is the highest rated Saw movie in the franchise.
I'm going to say true.
Yeah.
Wow, true. It really is the best one?
It's the highest rating. It got an 80 on Rotten Tomatoes.
I guess because the story wasn't as confusing as
it's interesting because it has such a different format than the rest of them. Could that have influenced it because people were desperate for something new?
I think that, and it's also it was more streamlined and not confusing because sometimes you're like, this happened here and this person did this and this is why this happened here. And so you're like, all right, so it's just straightforward.
It's revenge. More cohesive, yeah. And like we were just talking about, there's so many perspectives in the usual format, so it does get confusing when you're watching it because it kind of jumps back and forth. All right, so did that give you some context to the questions that you like started immediately?
Yeah, I was like, is this shit a prequel? Yeah.
Well, now you know. Kind of, sort of. I actually really like that it's not a prequel. It's more of like the context, or you know how you're always in these episodes, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to know what happened after the movie ends. This is exactly what it is.
Yeah. But I think it's a little bit too late because Amanda looks too old. Let me not judge people.
Okay, so you went straight into the dislikes now. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about why I don't think we need to dwell on the topic of why we chose this movie. We have watched all of the Saw movies, not together, just like these movies have been going on for so long, so we've watched them, we're both fans of them, and so when the new ones come out, we tend to just watch them because we've watched the other ones. I will say, I am not the biggest fan of the Saw franchise. It's not like my preferred horror franchise. Body horror really, really does get under my skin. It freaks me the hell out. But it's not my preferred choice of horror.
Yeah, because you're squeamish. But
yeah.
I think I do like these movies. I do like these movies. But when they keep going and making sequels over and over again, sometimes you're just like, this shit is like dragging.
Yeah.
And you're like, another one. Like, it used to be like that back at like, how many years? Like 10 years ago? When they started making the next one, I was like, all right, what's going on now? But I like it because it's like a mystery. It's not just true. Like, it's not just, slashing and stuff. It's a mystery to find out why this person is doing it, and then there's like copycats. So in that perspective, I do like the movies.
In a way, because they have the police investigation in it all the time, it's sort of like a crime movie intertwined with the horror.
Yeah, the one I didn't like was the one before this. That one with Chris Rock. That shit was garbage.
That one was very police forward.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That's so funny. And then they followed up with one with like no police.
Yeah, that shit was garbage.
Yeah, I didn't like that one either. Why did we like this one so much? I will say we've kind of been talking about it already, but I like that it had a different formula than the rest of the Saw movies. This one, like we both mentioned, it's cohesive, you can follow it very easily, and it has a structure that you're familiar with when it comes to horror. Like, we've seen horror movies like this before, so it's kind of familiar in that sense, but there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's comforting, sometimes it's good to watch movies like that in the franchise that you're familiar with as well. It's kind of cool, so I like that.
I liked it because my bro returned, Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Because I think he was out of a couple of the last ones. He wasn't there.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I think he died or some shit in the other ones.
Oh, yeah, he did, right?
He died, or they said he died, but he didn't really die, or some shit like that. But he came back for this one, so.
Yeah. Okay, another thing that I liked about it is that it does have references to the other movies. Like, there are little nods. Of course, we have two big characters in this one that play major roles in this one.
Jigsaw, Amanda, and then the detective came back from the first one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was it the detective from the first one?
I'm trying to remember.
Or was he from the sixth one? I can't remember. Yeah, his face.
I really can't remember. The Saw series isn't one that I like kept close attention to. And did you know that the first one came out 20 years ago?
Wow. So then, they waited 20 years to do it. I'm telling you.
It's so long.
It took too long to do this shit.
So long. in a way, I get why they did it, because it's definitely a fan...
Favorite?
No, it's... What's the word? It's almost like a fan service, because you kind of go back to it, give context to the super fans, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's actually kind of cool to see that insight, so I get it. But 20 years, I forgot a lot about this series.
Yes.
And there's no way I'm watching all of these movies to get a refresher. It's just too much.
Yeah, so they just brought him back and you're like, what?
I mean, yeah.
But you knew it. You know his face. He got that face.
When you see him, that's all you think of. You think of Saw, yeah. Another good thing? I mean, in the context of Saw, it was gross.
Yeah, it was mad. Yeah.
The body horror was disgusting. The traps were vile.
Oh yeah, this shit was crazy. They were like chopping the legs and shit.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It
and
was
like
intense.
they're showing you doing it with the string. Yeah.
Oh, it's so graphic. It's so graphic. There's something about body horror where I just get... That's where you're going to get the most reaction from me when I'm watching something.
Yeah, the way that... I like how, like, the way that his traps are. Like, he gets you... There's a way to get out of it, but you have to, like, hurt yourself. But in this one, he went, like, fucking crazy. Like, the what you call it? The innovation of these traps.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to chop your leg off to get out, otherwise you're gonna die. And you take it too long to chop your leg off. Like, these people were like... Some of them were like, I'm like, why the fuck you didn't chop the leg off yet? You're just like...
I mean...
I'm gonna wait till the last second to die.
If you're in that situation, I would not want to do... It's something like... What is it? It's something inherent in you that you don't want to injure yourself, you know? Especially not cut off a limb.
Yeah, or like...
And that's kind of the...
Break your finger. Yeah.
That's kind of like the... Not the appeal, but the whole thing about the Saw traps is that you have to get injured, right? In order to get out of it. So there's not really a win-win situation. It's always a lose-lose. And there's always going to be something disgusting happening. So that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I think perhaps the best thing about this movie, and maybe we see it in the other movies as well, but particularly in this one, justice is, like, served. The evil characters, quote-unquote evil characters, they get so much revenge taken back onto them. I can't remember the main characters. The main woman.
The doctor or something.
The doctor, the biggest scam artist in this movie. But she actually doesn't die at the end. She has to stay alive and suffer with the consequences of being a con artist.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Also in the movie, like there's always like one person that gets out of it and it doesn't get hurt. And she was the one, and she was such a fucking...
That's the thing. She suffered in that room, and then she stayed alive, where it's like you kind of want her to die because she's the bad person, but it's good that she stayed alive because now she has to pay back everybody that she screwed over. So it's like super justice.
And that was the thing, the like the mystery and the puzzling shit in it. Like, what was it? The twist at the end.
Yeah.
He knew what was gonna happen before everything's gonna happen. I was like, I knew some shit was gonna happen. I knew it.
There's always a twist. There's always like a storyline being solved as you go, and he's always a step ahead. Always.
Now, how do you tell me what you dislike it? Because I know you dislike it a lot. Should you go first or me?
Do you have a lot of dislikes?
A little bit.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so I didn't like how the shit took 20 years to make.
Well, we've got that one,
right?
yeah.
I didn't like how you thought that you thought the audience was like stupid. You know, Amanda is older. She looks older.
Yeah, the aging thing just...
The aging didn't work.
It was too obvious, yeah.
I didn't like how... was he trying to like trick Amanda also? Because he knew what was going on. He wasn't telling her everything.
I don't think it was a trick. I think it was him being strategic because he knew that she had emotion attached.
Oh, yeah, because he's trying to train her, right? He's trying to train her to be the next one, yeah. I get it now. There were some parts of the movie was like kind of corny, like the part when he was hanging out with the kids and stuff. I'm just like, yo, this... Like, it was like a little dragging on. Like,
yeah.
It could have been less than 2 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, certain parts were like, okay, emotional stuff, and it showed you more of his, like, his human side. So I guess... I mean, that was the only thing that I didn't like about it.
Yeah, I think those are all valid. And it's like... once again, why did this get 80% on Rotten Tomatoes? I don't mean to shit on it. Like, it wasn't a horrible movie, but was it really the best movie in the franchise?
Nah, I don't think it was the best one. There's other ones that he did that at the end you were like, oh shit, you didn't see the twist happening.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I just think, like, doesn't make sense in the timeline. Now, I didn't do the research, so I feel like I shouldn't be the one to say that. And I don't think either of us have done enough research to, like, fully place it into the timeline where every single detail is making sense. But does it make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, here's the thing too. Like, you have a feeling when you watch a movie, you know it's a prequel or it's like a sequel or whatever. So you're like, all right, so they're all gonna live. So do I care? Nah, you want to see the story of what happened, but there's always like little things you could have put in, like, what if his foot got chopped off, but you didn't know that because you don't see a foot, like he didn't show you a foot, or his hand got chopped off, or his finger got chopped off, and he's hiding it throughout all the years.
Yeah,
like they could have done little things like that. They didn't do shit. They were just like, yep.
Yeah, I guess it was. I don't want to say lazy, but it was kind of like they threw this movie together, and they took bits and pieces from the neighboring movies in the franchise to make it work. So that's what I mean. Like, is it really intricately making sense? I don't know for sure, but something tells me it was a little bit more slapped together, if that makes sense. At least I got that vibe from watching it.
And I mean, like, where do you go from now? Like, what's the next Saw gonna be?
It does kind of bring about an interesting question. What are they gonna do next? Are they gonna follow this route of kind of going back in time and revisiting moments that they didn't cover? Or are they gonna just keep moving forward like they have been doing and just bringing in new characters? It kind of opens up the window or opens up avenues for the franchise, and that they can go backwards if they want to now. Which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's different ways they can do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll make money off of it, too. It's
It has a very dedicated fan base. Obviously, we're not part of that super dedicated fan base, but we can respect it. Like, some of them are great, some of them are not, and it's fine. Like, it's just one of those franchises for us. But I will also say, there's, at least for me, as someone just casually watching the Saw series, to me, there was nothing special about it. I think it was a very, very forgettable movie, and I think it kind of is showing in this episode. Yeah. It's not that we didn't do our job. We watched the movie, we discussed it, and what have you. It's just that it was a forgettable movie. The formula of it, the format of it, the sequence, the way that it was structured, everything was very forgettable. It was like any old horror movie that you've seen before, just with very familiar characters, because the Saw franchise has been around for so long. So I don't think it was anything special. Yeah,
there wasn't any like kill that I woke up the next day and was like, that shit was gruesome. I was just like, okay.
Or it was something like, oh my gosh, I will always remember this movie in particular in the Saw franchise. Like,
yeah, no penises got cut off and stuff, you know?
I just didn't get that vibe. And then the last thing that's kind of related to that point, do we need more Saw movies? Have we exhausted this franchise? I feel like we have. I know we just talked about potential future movies, but do we really need it, though?
I mean, when this one came out, it's been a long time since the other one, so that's how they got their money, because they're like, oh, he's coming back. But if they never made another one, I wouldn't care.
That's the thing.
So it's like...
We all know, I'm anti-series here. I like a good set of movies, sure. If you want to have multiple movies, sure. If it makes sense, sure. But if you're just going to continuously make movies and they get less sensical as they go on and then you start spinning things off, I'm just like, now you're at a point where it's not special anymore. Yeah. At least in my opinion. And I just feel like the Saw franchise, I've lost so much interest in it as time has gone on, because it follows the same formula, or in this case, it changes up the formula and it's still forgettable. So it's like, maybe we can drop the Saw franchise and work on some more unique movies. I don't know.
I mean, if they make another one and they do it with the cops, make it a little bit better with like the mystery and the thriller. There's like so many avenues they could go through. I mean,
they really could. They could change up the perspectives. They could change up the timelines. But it's like, again, do we need it though?
Nah, you don't need it. But I'm always up for another good. If they can make a good one or better, like a 9 out of 10. let's do it.
And that's probably what they're also thinking. They know that people will watch it because it's kind of a staple in the horror community. They know people are going to watch it no matter what. So they can kind of experiment and do whatever they want, which is fair. But I will just say it's nothing stand out for me.
Yeah, there's nothing special, but you should check it out though. But I guess we looked at it because we've seen all of them, so we're just like, all right, let's do the.
Yeah, I think that's 100% what happened. I really had no desire to watch it, but of course, you're always willing to give a movie a try, so you're like, let's watch it. And I'm like, I don't really want to, but okay. Which kind of happens more frequently than you would think. But this is a perfect segue into the question for today's episode. So make sure that you're going on Instagram and checking out the discussion post every time an episode goes live. There's always going to be a discussion post. We always post a question in that post. And so today's question is, yay or nay to the Saw series? Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Are you kind of in between like we are? And if you are a fan, which one is your favorite? Rapid fire, which one is your favorite?
Mine?
Yeah.
The first one is the best one.
Yeah, agreed. The first one.
The first one was the best one because he got up off the floor and he was there the whole time. I was like, you didn't have to use the bathroom or anything? No.
We should probably talk about that one.
Yeah.
That one is my favorite one too.
He was there the whole time listening to everything. He wasn't laughing.
Maybe we should do an episode on that one. Coming soon, y'all. Thank you for listening. If you liked today's episode and you want to hear more from us, do us a favor and tell your friend, your family member about this podcast. That just helps us get out there, helps us continue doing more seasons like this. And tune in next Wednesday because we're going to be talking about a recent Stephen King adaptation. I know you're probably thinking of which one, because there's always a million of them in production, but we're going to be talking about The Boogeyman. And for now, we'll see you in the kitchen with a knife.